Where you going? What we gonna do next? Who gonna season the meat? Me or you?
Me a cookie meat, you a cookie rice. Me already tell her that from the start.
Okay.
Well, a heartbroken mother speaking only to Fox 35 News about the death of her daughter and her granddaughter. The 20-year-old and her 1-year-old baby girl were found dead in a car in a parking lot in Orange County.
September 9th, 2021. A parking lot in Orlando, Florida. Detectives approach a silver Volkswagen Jetta that's been sitting there for 2 days in the brutal heat. Windows fogged up, doors locked. Nobody's touched it. They pop the door open and the smell hits them immediately.
1-year-old Jordania was found dead inside this vehicle, along with her mother, 20-year-old Masanya Malcolm, Thursday afternoon. Mina says Masanya died from multiple gunshot wounds.
And here's the thing that'll haunt you. The baby has no gunshot wounds.
We don't have a cause of death on the infant, Jordania, but we believe it may have been from the heat of the vehicle.
The medical examiner would later say the baby tried to wake her mom up, crawled on top of her, stayed with her until the heat became too much. Now rewind 2 days. 5 a.m. A neighbor hears gunshots ripping through the morning. Minutes later, deputies find a man collapsed behind a bush, bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds. He's barely breathing, but he manages to say 4 words. My friend shot me. His girlfriend, missing. Their baby, missing. The car, gone. And the friend he's talking about, vanished into thin air. For 3 years, this case went cold. 3 years of a grieving grandmother demanding justice.
A grandchild, come on, she's a baby. She's a baby.
3 years of wondering if he'd ever be caught. Then, a routine traffic stop in New Jersey. An officer runs a name through the system, and everything changes. But here's what nobody saw coming. The man who pulled the trigger wasn't a stranger. He wasn't some random criminal. He was someone this family fed, someone they gave a roof over his head, someone they tried to help when he had nothing. And when they finally asked him to leave, he made sure they'd never ask anyone for anything ever again. Welcome to Shadows of Crime, where we dig into the cases that'll keep you up at night. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this with someone who loves true crime as much as you do. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? All right, let's get into this. Before we get into the nightmare that destroyed this family, you need to know who Masanya Malcolm really was, because she wasn't just a headline. She wasn't just another victim. She was a real person with dreams, a YouTube channel, and a 1-year-old daughter she loved more than anything. Masanya was 20 years old, born May 23, 2001. She was of Jamaican descent but called Orlando home. And if you scrolled through her social media, you'd see a young woman who was just living. Cooking videos, relationship Q&As, vlogs with her boyfriend. The kind of content that wasn't trying to go viral, it was just her sharing her life. In one video, she's in the kitchen with her boyfriend, filming a cooking vlog.
Today, we'll be doing a story time on how we met / a little cooking vlog. We'll be cooking shrimp chicken. So normally, what's the first thing we do when we are cook chicken, curry chicken?
First thing I do,
Yeah, what's the first thing we do when we cooking
I must cut up the meat. My first thing I do.
Okay, so cut up the meat.
Who's cut up the meat?
Me? You make me cut up the meat?
Alright, me cut up the meat.
Masanya wasn't famous. She didn't have millions of followers, but she had something more important, a tight-knit family. Her mom, LaToya Reed, described her as the center of her world, her only daughter. And Masanya had given her the only granddaughter she'd ever have, baby Jordania. The 3 of them were close, really close. The kind of bond where you don't need to explain yourself because they already know. LaToya would later say that her daughter and granddaughter meant the world to her, and you can hear it in her voice when she talks about them.
God, I can never be the same again, never. My life is changed forever, never be the same.
That kind of love that doesn't fade, even after death. Now Masania's boyfriend, his name was never publicly released, probably to protect him from the media circus, was Jordania's father. They lived together in a one-bedroom apartment on Lake Heritage Circle in Orlando. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. They were young, figuring life out, raising a baby, and trying to build something solid. And then there's this video. Someone asked Masania what her biggest fear was, and her answer will break you.
To me, what's like, your biggest fear? Death. Like, who's not scared of death? A lot of y'all are probably not scared of death, but I'm scared as fuck to die. Because, like, worse, I have a kid. Like, nobody gonna love her like me. Nobody gonna look out for her like me, so.
Her biggest fear wasn't dying itself. It was leaving her daughter behind. It was the thought of Jordania growing up without her mother's love, without her protection. And the cruelest part of this whole story? That fear came true, but it gets worse. Because Jordania didn't grow up without her mother. She didn't get the chance to grow up at all. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because before the gunshots, before the hot car, before the bodies were found, there was a decision. A choice that seemed harmless at the time, maybe even noble. Masania's boyfriend had a friend from back home in Jamaica. They went to school together. And when that friend reached out saying he was homeless, had nowhere to go, the boyfriend didn't hesitate. I know what it feels like to be homeless, he told LaToya Reed. So I'm going to help him. His name was Dujon Dugwain Griffiths. And letting him into their home was the worst mistake they ever made. Real talk. If a friend asked to crash at your place for a few days, would you say yes? Even if you had a baby at home? Even if your gut told you something was off? Drop your answer in the comments, because this couple said yes, and it cost them everything. August 2021. Dujon Dwayne Griffiths moves into Masania and her boyfriend's one-bedroom apartment. He is 21 years old, homeless, and according to him, just needs a place to crash until he gets back on his feet. The boyfriend felt good about it. He was helping a friend, doing the right thing, and at first maybe it seemed fine. A few days, maybe a week, no big deal, right? Except those few days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into a month, then longer, and here's where things started to rot from the inside. Griffiths didn't look for work, didn't contribute a single dollar to rent, didn't buy groceries, didn't help clean, didn't do anything except exist in their space, eating their food, using their electricity, sleeping on their couch. While they squeezed into a bedroom with a one-year-old baby, he just laid around. All day, every day, like the world owed him something. Masania noticed it first, of course she did. She was the one home with the baby while her boyfriend worked. She was the one watching this grown man do absolutely nothing while she juggled motherhood and keeping a household together. And she was getting pissed. She'd complained to her boyfriend, he needs to go. He's not even trying. But her boyfriend kept making excuses. He's going through something, give him time, he'll figure it out. But Griffiths never figured it out. He just kept taking. LaToya Reed, Masania's mom, saw it too. She didn't live with them, but she visited, and every time she came by, there was Griffiths, on the couch, doing nothing, contributing nothing. She pulled her daughter's boyfriend aside one day and asked him straight up, "Why are you taking this guy into your one-bedroom apartment with your baby daughter?" His answer, "LaToya, I know what it feels like to be homeless, so I'm going to help him." Look, you can respect that. You really can. The man had a good heart. He wanted to help someone who was struggling. But good intentions don't protect you from bad people. And Griffiths, he wasn't grateful. He was entitled. By early September, Masania had enough. She told her boyfriend flat out, "I don't care what you feel, he needs to leave now." And to his credit, the boyfriend agreed. Enough was enough. They'd given Griffiths a place to stay for weeks, fed him, let him live rent-free, and he'd done nothing to help himself. It was time to go, so they came up with a plan. They drive Griffiths to the Greyhound bus station, buy him a ticket, and send him on his way. One last act of kindness to get him out of their lives for good. Clean break, no drama. September 7th, 2021, 5 a.m. The sun isn't even up yet. Masania gets in the front passenger seat of the car, a silver Volkswagen Jetta that belonged to her boyfriend's mom. She's holding baby Jordania in her lap. Her boyfriend's in the driver's seat. And Griffiths? He's in the back, right behind the driver. They're heading to the bus station. The plan is simple. Drop him off, buy the ticket, say goodbye, and never look back. Maybe Masania is relieved. Maybe she's thinking about how nice it'll be to have their apartment back. To not have some freeloader taking up space while she's trying to raise her daughter. Maybe the boyfriend's feeling a little guilty, but also ready to move on. He helped his friend as much as he could. Now it's time for Griffiths to help himself. And Griffiths? Who knows what he's thinking? But whatever it is, it's dark. Because as the boyfriend starts backing out of the parking lot, Griffiths reaches into his waistband and pulls out a gun. Pause right here. You ever help someone out, give them everything, and they turn around and disrespect you? Maybe they didn't pull a gun, but they showed you who they really were. Drop a comment and tell me your story, because I guarantee someone reading this has been burned by someone they tried to help. The boyfriend doesn't see it coming. He's focused on backing out of the parking space, probably thinking about the drive to the bus station. Maybe relieved this whole situation is finally over. Then he hears the click. Bang! The first shot hits him from behind. Then another and another. Griffiths is firing from the back seat, aiming at the man who gave him a place to sleep, who fed him, who was literally driving him to safety at that very moment. The boyfriend's survival instinct kicks in. He throws the car door open and stumbles out, blood already soaking through his shirt. He tries to run, but his legs aren't working right. Multiple bullets have torn through his body. Griffiths doesn't stop. He gets out of the car and keeps shooting, chasing him, hunting him. A neighbor wakes up to the sound. It was so loud, they'd tell reporters later. Just boom, boom, boom. I knew something terrible was happening. The boyfriend collapses behind a bush, trying to make himself small, trying to disappear. He's bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds, chest, back, arms. He can feel his life draining out of him, and all he can think about is Masania and Jordania, still in that car. With him, Griffiths walks back to the Jetta. The engine's still running. Masania's in the passenger seat holding their baby, and here's what investigators believe happened next, based on the evidence they found later. Griffiths gets back in the car. Maybe Masania's screaming, maybe she's begging, maybe she's trying to shield Jordania with her body. We'll never know what her last words were, but we know what Griffiths did. He shot her. Face, neck, hand. The hand wound tells you everything. She was trying to protect herself, trying to block the bullets, trying to stay alive for her daughter. But Griffiths didn't care. And then, with Masania dead or dying in the passenger seat, with a 1-year-old baby girl sitting right there, he put the car in drive and left the parking lot. Back behind the bush, the boyfriend is fading. He's lost so much blood he can barely move. But he hears a voice. Someone's calling 911. Help is coming. Orange County Sheriff's deputies arrive within minutes. They find him barely conscious, covered in blood, trying to speak. One of the deputies leans in close. Who did this to you? The boyfriend's voice is barely a whisper. 4 words, that's all he can manage. My friend shot me. Then he passes out. The paramedics rush him to the hospital. He's going straight into emergency surgery. The doctors don't know if he'll make it. But even if he does survive, he's going to wake up to a nightmare worse than the bullets, because Masania and Jordania are gone, and nobody knows where. Griffiths drives the Jetta less than a mile away from the apartment complex. He pulls into another parking lot, this one on Lake Eleanor Drive. It's still early, the sun's barely up, nobody's around. He parks the car. Masania's body is slumped in the passenger seat. Baby Jordania is still alive, still breathing, probably crying, probably terrified, probably covered in her mother's blood. And Griffiths, he gets out of the car, closes the door, locks it, and walks away. He doesn't call 911, doesn't leave the windows cracked, doesn't do anything to help that baby. He just leaves her there, in a locked car in Florida in September. The temperature outside is already climbing. Inside that car, it's going to get worse fast. Jordania is alone now, with her mother's body in the heat, and she's 1 year old. She can't open the door, can't call for help, can't do anything except wait. Investigators believe she crawled onto her mother, tried to wake her up, stayed close to her because that's what babies do. They go to their mothers when they're scared. And as the hours passed, as the temperature inside that car climbed to 120, 130, 140 degrees, Jordania's little body couldn't take it anymore. She died there, on the floorboard, next to her mother, while Griffiths was out there somewhere, walking free. I need you to sit with that for a second. A 1-year-old baby, left to die in a hot car, after watching her mother get murdered. If that doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what will. Comment below what punishment fits this crime. Because I've got my own thoughts, and they're not pretty. September 7th, 2021. The boyfriend is in surgery, fighting for his life. Doctors are pulling bullets out of his body, trying to stop the bleeding, trying to keep him alive. He's unconscious, intubated, barely hanging on. And nobody knows where Masania and Jordania are. The family starts calling. Masania's phone goes straight to voicemail. They try again and again. Nothing. Latoya Reed, Masania's mom, is calling both phones, her daughter's and her boyfriend's. No answer to both phones, she'd say later. I just kept calling and calling. Something's wrong. Everyone can feel it. September 9th, 2 full days after the shooting. Still no word from Masania. Still no sign of Jordania. The family's panic is turning into terror. They contact the Orange County Sheriff's Office and report them missing. Deputies head to the apartment on Lake Heritage Circle. They knock, no answer. They check the windows. Everything looks normal. No signs of forced entry, no blood, no struggle. The apartment's just empty. At this point, investigators are working with almost nothing. They've got a shooting victim in the hospital who can't talk, a missing mother and baby, and a car that's vanished. But then later that same day, the boyfriend wakes up. He's groggy, disoriented. Tubes down his throat, machines beeping all around him. The doctors tell him he's lucky to be alive. Multiple gunshot wounds. He lost a dangerous amount of blood. But he made it, and the first thing he does when he's coherent enough, he tries to tell them what happened. But he can't speak. The intubation damaged his throat, his voice is gone, so a detective hands him a pen and paper. The boyfriend's hand is shaking, but he writes one name, Dujon Griffiths. The detective leans in. Is this the person who shot you? The boyfriend nods. Was Masania with you? Another nod. Was she shot too? The boyfriend's eyes fill with tears. He nods again. And your daughter, Jordania? He nods, and then he writes something else. Something that makes every detective in that room move faster. He took them. In the car. Now they've got a suspect. Now they've got a direction. The Orange County Sheriff's Office immediately puts out a warrant for Griffith's arrest. Attempted murder. But they still need to find Masania and Jordania, and they need to find them fast. The auto theft unit gets involved. The car, the silver Volkswagen Jetta, belongs to the boyfriend's mother, and it's got GPS tracking. They pull up the data, and there it is. A location. Lake Eleanor Drive. Less than a mile from the apartment. The car's been sitting there for 2 days. Detectives rush to the scene. It's a parking lot. Quiet. Nothing unusual. And there's the Jetta, parked in a corner spot. Windows fogged up. Doors locked. One of the deputies approaches the driver's side. He cups his hands against the glass and looks inside. And his stomach drops. There's a body in the passenger seat. A woman, slumped over. Blood everywhere. We've got a victim, he radios in. Female, gunshot wounds, not moving. They pop the locks and open the door. The smell hits them immediately. Death and heat mix together in a way that makes even veteran cops gag. The temperature inside that car is unbearable. It's been baking in the Florida sun for 2 days. Masanya Malcolm is dead. Gunshot wounds to the face, neck, and hand. Her body's been there the whole time, decomposing in the heat. But then one of the deputies looks down at the floorboard on the driver's side, and he sees her, baby Jordania, curled up, tiny, still, no gunshot wounds, no visible injuries. Just a little girl who'd been left in a hot car with her dead mother. The deputy checks for a pulse, already knowing what he's going to find. Nothing. She's gone. The medical examiner would later confirm it. Hyperthermia. Heat exhaustion. Jordina had been alive when Griffiths left that car. She'd survived the shooting. But she couldn't survive the heat. Investigators believe she crawled to her mother, tried to wake her up, and when her mother didn't respond, she stayed there. Because where else would a baby go? She died alone, scared, in pain, next to the one person who had done anything to save her. And Griffiths? He was already gone, vanished, like he'd never existed at all. September 10th, 2021. Orange County Sheriff John Mina stands in front of a wall of cameras and reporters. His face is tight, angry. You can hear it in his voice when he speaks.
Suspect allegedly left that baby to die in that car. Disgusting. That is truly an evil person, and whoever did that is going to have to pay for those crimes.
The warrants are already issued. 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, 1 count of attempted murder. The sheriff's office puts up a $15,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. They plaster his face everywhere. News stations, social media, billboards. They tell the public, he's armed and dangerous, do not approach. Tips start coming in. Someone thinks they saw him at a gas station. Another person swears he was on a bus heading north. Detectives chase every lead, every single one, but they all go nowhere. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and Griffiths is just gone. While the manhunt continues, LaToya Reed is planning a funeral. Not one funeral, 2. Mother and daughter, together. She picks out a casket big enough for both of them, because she can't bear the thought of separating them, not after what they went through, not after Jordania spent her last moments trying to wake her mother up. The funeral is devastating. Friends, family, community members, everyone shows up. But the person who should be there in handcuffs, he's not. LaToya stands at the podium, barely able to speak through her tears. I think I will ask God why for the rest of my life, she says. Even if God himself came in front of me and told me the reason, I don't think I would accept it. She looks at the casket, at the photos of her daughter and granddaughter, and she makes a promise. I will be at every court hearing, every single one. I will look him in the eyes, and I will make sure he knows what he took from me. But there's no court hearing, because there's no arrest. Months pass. Then a year, then 2 years. The case goes cold, not because investigators stop working it, they don't, but because Griffiths has completely disappeared. No credit card activity, no social media, no sightings, nothing. The boyfriend who survived the shooting has to rebuild his life with a hole in it that'll never close. He lost the woman he loved, he lost his daughter. And he has to live with the guilt of letting Griffiths into their home. LaToya Reed wakes up every day wondering if this will be the day they catch him. She keeps Masania and Jordania's photos everywhere, on her walls, on her phone. She posts about them on social media, keeping their story alive, refusing to let people forget. I was robbed, she says in one interview, her voice shaking with rage. I was robbed by somebody I thought was a friend. 3 years, 1,095 days, and nothing. People start to wonder if Griffiths is even still alive. Maybe he fled to Jamaica. Maybe he changed his name. Maybe he's living under the radar in some small town where nobody knows his face. Or maybe he's dead. Maybe he got into something he couldn't get out of. Maybe karma caught up with him before the law could. But LaToya doesn't believe that. She knows he's out there. She can feel it. And then, March 26, 2024, Linden, New Jersey. A random Tuesday afternoon, 2 officers from the Linden Police Department pull over a car for a routine traffic violation. Nothing major. Broken taillight maybe. Or expired tags, the kind of stop cops do 100 times a week. The driver hands over his license. The officers run it through the system, and the computer lights up like a Christmas tree. Outstanding warrants. Florida, Orange County Sheriff's Office. First-degree murder, 2 counts. The officers look at each other. Then they look at the driver. Step out of the vehicle, hands where we can see them. Dujon Dwayne Griffiths doesn't run, doesn't fight. He just gets out of the car and puts his hands behind his back. After 3 years, they finally got him. And when LaToya Reed gets the call, she doesn't cry. She doesn't scream. She just closes her eyes and whispers 2 words. Thank God. March 27, 2024. Griffiths is extradited back to Florida. He's wearing an orange jumpsuit now, hands cuffed, walking through the same county where he murdered 2 people and tried to kill a 3rd. He appears before a judge via video. The courtroom is packed. LaToya Reed is there front row staring at the screen. This is the first time she's seen his face since the funeral. The judge reads the charges. 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, 1 count of attempted murder. Then he asks about bond. The prosecutor doesn't hesitate. Your Honor, this defendant executed a young mother in front of her infant child, then left that baby to die in a locked car in the Florida heat. He fled the state and evaded capture for 3 years. He is a danger to the community and an extreme flight risk. The state requests no bond. The judge doesn't even pause. Bond is set at none. The defendant will remain in custody pending trial. Griffiths doesn't react, doesn't speak. Just stares at the camera with dead eyes. LaToya watches him, waiting for something. Remorse, maybe. Fear. Guilt. Anything human. But there's nothing. After the hearing, reporters swarm her. They ask how she feels now that he's been caught. I have nothing to say to Dujon Dwayne Griffiths, she tells them, her voice steady but cold. I'm not in the place where I've forgiven him. I'm still in the grieving process. I'm still angry. May God have mercy on your soul. She means it, because she knows what's coming for him. Florida still has the death penalty, and if any case deserves it, it's this one. But here's the thing that keeps her up at night. No verdict will bring them back. No sentence will let her hold her daughter again, or hear Jordania laugh, or watch her grow up. Justice won't undo what Griffiths did. It won't erase the image of that baby trying to wake her mother in a boiling car. It won't take away the boyfriend's guilt or the 3 years of wondering if the killer would ever face consequences. All it can do is make sure Griffiths never walks free again. And for LaToya, that'll have to be enough. Because some losses are so deep, so complete, that nothing, not even justice, can fill the hole they leave behind. Masanya Malcolm was 20 years old. She had a YouTube channel, a boyfriend who loved her, and a 1-year-old daughter who was her entire world. Her biggest fear was dying and leaving Jordania without a mother's love. That fear came true. But the cruelest twist? Jordania didn't survive without her either. The boyfriend has to live with the weight of letting Griffiths into their home. Every day he wakes up knowing his act of kindness destroyed everything he loved. LaToya Reed buried her only daughter and only granddaughter in the same casket. She'll never be the same. Never stop asking why. Never stop feeling robbed by someone she tried to help. And Griffiths? He's sitting in a cell, waiting for trial, knowing exactly what he did. This case is a brutal reminder. Sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones you invite in, the ones you feed, the ones you trust. Now here's my question for you. What would you do if you were on that jury? Life without parole? Death penalty? Something else? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit subscribe if you want more cases like this. Share this video so Masanya and Jordania's names never get forgotten. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.